And are we recording?
Are we recording? Can we hit record? No. I'll
Here.
recording.
She was born in 1926 in San Diego, grew up as a military brat. Her father was a storied naval commander during World War II. She went to Manhattanville College. She had wanted to enter the RCJ in high school, actually, but they told her she had to finish college first. So she went to their college in Manhattan. And she was nicknamed, she was so intense, and someone nicknamed her the White Flame. She took her first vows in 1951. She had a teaching ministry, and it was really later in her life that she turned then to the peace activism for which she's known.
Anne Montgomery, RSCJ, was a small, frail-looking religious of the Sacred Heart, determined to transform swords into plowshares, to bring peace to a polarized world. Her various nonviolent actions against nuclear weapons, her many sojourns in Iraq and Palestine with Christian peacemaker teams, now community peacemaker teams, her participation in the walk to Guantanamo came out of a life of deep contemplation. She was an embodiment of the words in paragraph 8 of our congregation's constitutions. The pierced heart of Jesus opens our being to the depths of God and to the anguish of humankind. The poems which follow came from the depths of her contemplative heart. And I want to mention two moments when, in a sense, my life intersected with Anne's. Just before the original Plowshares action in 1980, I happened to be provincial of one of our 5 provinces in the United States, based in Newton, Massachusetts. And Anne was a member of the New York province, based in Greenwich, Connecticut. The provincial of the New York province was Sister Anne Conroy, another Anne. We had a number of sisters living in each other's provinces, and so our 2 teams, each a team of 3, and if Sister Nance O'Neill is on this Zoom in Albany, she will remember this event. We used to meet twice a year just to be on the same page with the members of our province. And so this particular year, which was 1980, don't remember exactly the month, we were meeting in the Greenwich Provincial House, and someone came in and called Anne Conroy out for a phone call. She came back and she said, "That was Anne Montgomery. She told me she is about to do an action. She cannot tell me what, or when, or where, or it would make me complicit." That was 1980, several months before the original Plowshares action at King of Prussia, the Plowshares 8, King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. Apparently, General Electric was making more than light bulbs. Fast forward, I think, 22 years. And by this point, I am in our elder community. I'm the community life director at Oakwood on the property of our school in Atherton, California. And Anne, as has been mentioned, she had done her last action up in Bangor, Washington. She had developed cancer. She was in one of our local Redwood City communities. And she said, I don't want to be a burden on the community, and when the time comes, I will move to Oakwood. She came around the 4th of July, and she died on the 27th of August, so she wasn't with us very long. But at that point, Anne Conroy, who had been her provincial, was down the hall and somewhat compromised cognitively. I don't know that she knew that Anne Montgomery was in the building even. What I remember is Anne Montgomery had a sign on her door saying, "No visitors, please." I asked her, "What do you mean by that?" And she said, "Well, I have to prepare for death. But there is one exception, Anne Conroy." And what I think she was referring to was the fact that once Anne Montgomery had done that original Plowshares action, which was the first time any of our sisters had done anything like this, there were some skeptics. Anne Conroy had had a teleconference before the days of Zoom so that Anne Montgomery could explain herself. And I think that is the reason. It's just surmise, but I think that's the reason that Anne Montgomery said, "There is one exception, Anne Conroy."
Arise and witness came like the warm spirit of Blessed Anne herself. What a gift you, Art and Carol, have given to the rising generation and to all of us who seek the way. You have provided a living testimony through her ineffable poetry and your recounting of her fearless witness. It's a wonderful thing to be in the presence of someone who is fearless. Cheerfully facing death without hesitation in Iraq, in occupied Palestine. Really, in any demonstration, you don't know who's going to throw a shoe at you. Witness to the expanding, warming, inspiring life of Sister Anne Montgomery. And I only wonder myself, how was I given the gift of community in prayer and in deed with Sister Anne? Those who open themselves to the Spirit, prevailing through Arise and Witness, will know that truly amongst us, a holy saint moved and is moving. One question people always ask is, whose idea was the entry into the first time in world history to enter a nuclear weapons factory and take hammers to 2 Mark 12A warheads? Yeah. These were the actual warheads, the container which held 35 Hiroshimas. Sometimes people confuse it with the nose cone, which is on the end of the missile. But these 2 12 Mark A warheads were brought into the light of day for the first time. And people say, whose idea was that? Well, it should be self-evident. Only the Holy Spirit would think of such a thing. Sister Anne read to us in our preparations from the Book of Wisdom and how effortlessly the Spirit moves. And I think Dean and we can all say for certainty, we were only held together by prayer and friendship and the Holy Spirit. And perhaps that was the greatest gift of Sister Anne, is that her spirit pervaded all of us. silently, sweetly, effortlessly. We could only do it because we felt so together. Because there was no leader, no directions, no answers, no expectations, no plan, just prayerful, quiet leading that we all knew with an absolute certainty was the right thing to do. To disarm 2, render harmless 2 nuclear warheads. Well, I'm immensely grateful to be part of this circle, and I'll just read the spontaneous letter that I wrote to Dean, to Art and Carol, with such a pulse of joy and gratitude in receiving and reading. Arise and witness. Dear Art, dear Carol, my poor words can scarce tell you of my gratitude. Your slim volume arrived and I could not put it down. I held it page after page like a warming ember of glowing warmth. Thank you, Art. Thank you, Carol. Every time I've picked up from the moment it came flying through the air into my front post office box, many times in between, I felt my heart opening and my spirit trembling as it was trembling with every word you spoke, dear Dean. So in these days, let's just say medicine is available. There's some good medicine. Just pick it up and spend some time.